Sorry. Hey, hi everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining in. We'll start with today's session very, very shortly. We'll just wait for a few minutes for others to come in as well, and then we'll get started.
हे दोस्तों, वेलकम टू अपना कम्युनिटी। ये वो जगह है जहां आप अपने असली पोटेंशियल को एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हैं। देखो, सबके पास स्किल्स होते हैं, पर क्या आपके अंदर वो स्पार्क है जो आपको कामयाबी की ऊंचाइयों तक ले जा सकता है? अगर आप सोच रहे हैं जॉब चेंज करने के लिए, लेकिन रेज्यूमे सेलेक्ट नहीं हो रहा, या फिर इंग्लिश में इंटरव्यू देना थोड़ा चैलेंजिंग लग रहा है, तो फिक्र मत कीजिए। यहां हम हैं आपके साथ, आपको सपोर्ट करने के लिए। अपना कम्युनिटी में आपको मिलेगी बेहतरीन कम्युनिटीज, जहां आप अपने प्रोफेशनल स्किल्स को सुधार सकते हैं। चाहे आप एक्सेल, टैली, जीएसटी में माहिर बनना चाहें, या फिर आप खुद एक ब्यूटिशियन या डिजाइनर हैं, तो यहां आप अपने काम को शोकेस करके दूसरों को टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स देते हुए आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। अपना कम्युनिटी में आपको मिलेगा मेंटर्स का एक खजाना और बड़े इन्फ्लुएंसर्स का साथ, जो आपको हर कदम पर 1-to-1 गाइड करेंगे। यहां आप ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं अपने फील्ड या इंडस्ट्री स्पेसिफिक ग्रुप्स, जहां आपको ऐसे कई लोग मिलेंगे जिनसे सीख के आप वो गलती ना करें जो वो कर चुके हैं। ऐसे लोगों की जिन्होंने स्टार्ट किया था एज एग्जीक्यूटिव्स एंड आर नाउ सक्सेसफुल मैनेजर्स इन देयर डोमेन्स, जो आपको आगे बढ़ाने में मदद करेगा। यहां आपको मिलेगा वो सही डायरेक्शन जो आपकी करियर को नेक्स्ट लेवल ले जाएगा। तो लेट्स अनलॉक योर पोटेंशियल टुगेदर। अपना कम्युनिटी में ज्वाइन करें और अपने सपनों की ऊंचाइयों तक पहुंचने का सफर शुरू करें।
Hi everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining in. We'll be starting with our session shortly. Just waiting for one more minute. In the meantime, please let us know in the chat if you're coming in for the session for the very first time, or if you have also attended other sessions in the past. Hey, hi everyone. Thank you so much for coming in. Please let us know in the chat if this is your first session or if you have come in for sessions like these earlier, and we'll get started with the session. So first of all, a very good evening to everyone present here. I'll quickly give a brief introduction about these sessions and let people know why we are doing this and what you can expect from here. This is a part of Apna's community exclusives. We are doing these sessions every day to help you grow in your professional career. And we're helping you with different subjects, including spoken English, your interview prep. We are helping you with different technical skills. So ultimately, our goal is to help you get better at applying for jobs, get better at clearing interviews, and essentially be placed through the help of our platform. Today's session is primarily focused on spoken English, and for that we have Trishna here with us. She's a spoken English coach and has been helping us out with these sessions for quite some time now. I think this is the 9th or the 10th session that we are hosting together. And there have been people who've been coming for most of these sessions, and I hope people who are coming in for the first time do come in for the future sessions as well. So yeah, without any further delay, Trishna, why don't you take it forward from here?
Thanks, Dipanjan. Let me today do this a little differently. I wanted to share a story, and then what I want you all. So first of all, this is going to be an interactive session. We talk to each other a lot. We try and create opportunities, although we just have about an hour and a half. We try and create opportunities for you to speak. Okay, so sometimes if you're going to come on a public forum and you get this opportunity to talk in front of many people, that itself will help you cross barriers in your mindset to start, speaking. So how do you speak? Whenever you want to speak, please raise your virtual hand. Dipanjan will call out your name and then you can talk. Everyone else, please do participate by typing in chat. That's your playground. You can comment on what we're talking about. You can respond with your answers. You can, type in questions and things like that. The conversations that are related to what we're doing, we'll pick them up during the flow of the event. And the topics that are not related to this particular workshop, but it's related to your work, Apna, and your chat, Dipanjan will take it up in chat itself and he will respond to you there. Okay. So, right. So there's this guy called Arya, and what he did is he went for an interview. He went to Apna and he said, Dipanjan doesn't know him because he's a fictional character. He doesn't really exist. Okay. So he went to Apna and then he applied for a job. And Apna told him, look, your communication skills is not very good, and we therefore cannot accept you at, we cannot offer you a job. Of course, Arya was very disappointed, but he was, very, very determined to do better next time. And he's like, ran after the interviewer when he was stepping out, caught hold of him, and he's like, can you actually tell me what I did wrong? You say my communication skills is good, but I have so many friends and I'm really popular at my college, and I have organized events. Like, I've never seen issues with my communication. Like, what did I do wrong? Okay. And the interviewer says that when you speak English, it's not very clear. I'm not able to understand you. Okay. And therefore, you need to improve your English communication skills. Right. So how many of you have faced this, first of all? Like, you've gone for a job, and then you find yourself being stuck in your language and they tell you they can't give you the job. Or, they give you the job and they tell you that you need to be improving your communication skills. How many of you have faced this?
Yeah, Ashwini says, yeah. Ashwini, Rachna, Shantan.
Anyone wants to share an experience?
Yeah, Neha, please go ahead. You want to go ahead, Neha, share your experience. Anyone who wants to share their experience, they can unmute themselves.
So it's okay to talk. Don't worry about broken English. We're not going to judge you. We're proud of you if you try.
Anyone who wants to go ahead, they can just unmute yourself. आप अपने आप को unmute करके ही बोल सकते हैं. English broken भी हो तो भी कोई issue नहीं है. आप communicate कर सकते हैं.
Yeah, you can talk in Hindi as well if you understand and you want to respond.
Yeah, yeah. आप हिंदी में भी बोल सकते हैं अगर आप चाहें तो. अगर आप इंग्लिश में कंफर्टेबल नहीं फील कर रहे हैं तो.
Or any other language, but
Yeah.
Dipanchan only knows Hindi. Which other languages you know, Dipanchan?
Bengali also,
Okay, so Bengali, Hindi, Kannada, yeah, and
Yeah.
Hindi, Bengali, Kannada we can handle.
Yeah, Shantan, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, hello and good evening. What was the question, ma'am? It's like how I faced my first interview, right? If and I got stuck in English. Is that the question?
But the question is, have you faced an interview where they've told you that your communication skills are not good because your English language was not up to the mark?
Yeah, I still remember when I first applied for a job and they asked me to introduce myself, to tell me about yourself. That's a very common question. So at that time, I got like after saying 2 to 3 lines, I literally got stuck. I know how to speak in my native language. Then I was like, I was finding it very hard to articulate to the right words. So it kind of happened with me, and I felt really nervous. So after that, then I realized that that was my mistake, and then I was made known by the interviewer that this communication skill has been weak and I need to improve on it. So yeah, so this English communication is very important that I realized in the corporate. So yeah, I had my first time was like that. Yeah.
So, how do I call you? Sorry.
It's ma'am. You can call me by Shayantan. Shayantan. Or you can Shayantan. Yeah.
Okay, Shayantan. Okay, nice name. Very unique. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the issue was that you couldn't communicate. Like, you have issues with communication outside of the interview, or do you have issues with English as a language?
Yes, ma'am. At that time, I was facing challenge with the English language. I was facing challenge in articulating about myself. I was able to think what I need to speak next, but sometimes I was getting jumbled up with the words. So that was my first time experience. Yeah.
So
that made me really nervous.
I understand. So you had problem actually saying the words.
Yeah. In my first interview,
but you weren't confused about what you wanted to say.
Yeah, that was that. Well, I knew what to say, but I got jumbled up with the words after saying 2 to 3 lines. Yeah.
How is it now?
Ma'am, it's better than before because I'm able to, as you can say, I'm able to speak now. I really worked on myself, but I really feel that, yeah, but I really feel that I need to improve more. There is always a room for improvement, right, ma'am? So, yeah, that's the thing.
So what do you see? What are you seeing now? Like, what do you need to improve now? What are your goals?
Ma'am, I feel that I need to improve more on my fluency and more on my vocabulary. I feel that is one area where I can work more.
Okay. And that makes you feel that if you improve these things, you can communicate better.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. Correct. All right. Anyone else?
Hello, ma'am. I'm
Hello.
Jahid from
Hi,
Bihar.
Jahid. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. This is my first meeting, ma'am. I'm also new user from here, but I don't have an idea to what kind of discussion is happening here. Would you mind, please, ma'am, say to me what is going on over there and what kind of discussion can I?
Would anybody like to explain to him what are we doing here? Good opportunity. Dinesh, you want to? Who is this? Dinesh, we're not able to hear you.
I think he's not saying anything.
Yeah, I see a message saying that he's talking and then.
Hello, sir. This is Zahid.
Yeah, so community Zahid wants to know what is going on over here. Would anybody want to explain to him?
Yeah, I think Shantan wants to go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yes, I think I just saw the notification that today is like it's like a free English communication class, something like that. So I think today the session is going to be about how we can improve our communication in English. So that's what the session is all about. That's my guess. That was the notification I received actually.
Does that answer your question?
Jahid, did you understand what we are discussing here?
Yeah, sir. I guess you said to us like here is going on for the development or communication skill.
Correct. Yeah.
So the topic we really are talking about here today is to see whether your communication skills is the same as improving your English skills, right? Like we're trying to decide whether. So what do you think? Do you think they're the same or do you think they're different? If they're different, how? Are they correlated or they don't have any connection to each other? Like, what do you think?
This question is for me, ma'am.
Yes, that's question for you. That's right.
Yes, ma'am. I guess this meeting, I'm thinking first of all, before like registering for this meeting, like I'm thinking that this meeting for maybe professional life about, but and I'm asking here, then here is going on for the discussions for increasing our fluency. That's a fantastic, and I'm also working with that, ma'am. That's why I'm also so lucky for joining this meeting.
I see. But fluency is definitely, it will definitely contribute to your fluency for sure. But this meeting is also about being able to understand, being able to understand. There are a lot of nuances to understand how to develop language mastery where one can actually place oneself, right? So this is one of the sessions where we're not directly working on our skills, okay? We are creating opportunities that you can, improve your skills, but the opportunities would be in you understanding questions.
Hello, ma'am. There is a issue like.
Sorry.
Ma'am, before echoing your voice, ma'am, I'm unable to understand. Just I'm starting some sentences. I'm just understand.
Dipanjan, is my tone not clear?
I can hear you. If you can try using maybe headphones, I think that'll be clear. Like, no, I'm asking Jahid for that, but I can
Okay.
hear you. Yeah.
Maybe,
Okay.
sir, there is some internet issue.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe what I will do, Dipanjan, is I will talk and then maybe you can translate that for the community so they get
Sure.
it twice and
Sure.
somewhere that can be taken care of. So basically what we're here to cover today, so there are two kinds of sessions that we really do. One is something where it contributes to your language skills directly. Okay, so we talk about grammar, we talk about, how to speak and things like that. So we share tools, etc. And then there is an approach where you actually look at what communication skills are, what English language mastery is. So you kind of zoom out a little and then you kind of get a visibility on your learning experience. And, that helps you be an observer to yourself as a learner so you can shape your learning journey better and make it more efficient. Okay. So this is one of those, it's more like a master class, I can say, more than a direct coaching class. Having said that, we will give you an opportunity to speak, which in itself will be a practice. So what happens in all our sessions is all our sessions are interactive. They're designed that way. And we encourage you to try and listen and understand what we are speaking in English. And we encourage you to, participate in answering questions, even if you're doing it in chat or, even better if you can raise your hands and talk, because this just gives you an insight or an understanding into your own learning and development. So it might open a window for you to explore something new. Okay. Dipanjan, can you translate that for me, please?
Yeah. So the sessions that we are doing, Ajay, if you're not clear, the sessions that we do here is mostly to help you participate more, interact with other people, and practice your communication skills. This is more like a masterclass rather than a basic thing where we talk about different concepts, but it's essentially more where we participate in different interactive activities so that you can improve the kind of communication that you're doing, mostly in the professional sector.
Dipanjan, Hindi maybe.
I think this is clear, right? I think people have understood.
Is it?
Yeah.
Or we have a better English speaking crowd.
Yeah.
All right, lovely. Okay. Yeah, so any questions? Is that clear about what we're going to do today?
Yeah, hello, good evening, ma'am.
Who's this?
Siddharth, ma'am.
Hi, Siddharth.
Hi, ma'am.
Is this the first time or you've been in my class before?
Before, ma'am, this is second time.
Second time. Okay, you're that Sid.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, lovely. Nice to have you back.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, like mastery means that as we are like communication is good and we are focusing on one thing to improve our skills.
Not really,
or
no.
like
Master class is when you kind of zoom out a little, like you are able to see your own learning journey as an observer. For that, you don't have to be good at English. You just need to be able to observe yourself and take your, learning journey into an understanding and then sort of be enabled to make your own decisions about your learning journey. Let me give an example, okay? So for example, if you want to do science in PUC, okay? So your parents will basically guide you. Like say you have to select science, economics, computers, or, history, geography in 8th standard. Okay. Your parents will actually tell you, why don't you just do this because you need to select, it'll give you an option. So you're being guided like what you are supposed to do. But by the time you finish your graduation, then you have a bird's eye view. So then what you are doing and your parents are not doing this, you're like, hey, I thought I was good at science, but I actually like history and then I have a talent for it, right? And then you're like, okay, so if it's history, then what are the things that I can do? I can become a professor. I can, get into archaeology and, travel around the world and dig up places and, catalog stuff, those kind of things. Right. So what you're doing is you're zooming out a little bit more. You are considering many, many more factors, and then you're taking a decision on how you want to go further in your learning journey. Does that make sense,
okay.
Siddharth?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, so
Completely.
master class is, so English classes, there are two kinds of classes. Okay, so one is where we literally teach you a skill. Okay, so we tell you, okay, so these are verbs and these are tenses, and then if you say it this way, it will be better. And then you try that out and you develop that skill. Okay, and we've done that. And this
Okay.
is really to just think about your learning journey to get a better understanding. So this is to get a better understanding. So if an interviewer tells you your communication skill is bad, like to get an understanding, is your communication skill really bad? Or is it that your English is not very good and therefore you're not able to communicate well while using English? Right?
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
literally like, you know, somebody's used as an Indian, if I'm used to eating with my hands and somebody gives me chopsticks and I'm like, okay, now I can't eat. Right? Like I don't know how to lift my food and put it into my mouth. So you're not
For
used,
anything,
sorry?
yeah, for anything we need practice, ma'am.
Yeah, we need practice, correct. So we need to know um, that, you know, we need to know how to hold it, we need to know how to pick up food, we need to know how to put it into our mouth and chew, and what are the etiquettes of eating with a chopstick and things like that, right? So when we don't know how to use it, it's gonna look bizarre to us. It's like, why would anybody want to eat with two sticks? Like it doesn't make sense. Right? And then you realize there's a whole country of them doing it, and then you're like, okay, let me also try because it looks interesting. And then
Yes,
you're like,
ma'am.
okay, then you see people, you know, eating like small grains of rice with that, and you're like, oh my God, how can you do that? Even I want to try it. And then, you know, slowly you kind of develop an interest and then you know, practice, and you get better at it.
Yes, ma'am.
But that desire to even use chopsticks, so the point here is not the chopsticks, the point here is being able to eat food, right? And
Yes,
you
ma'am.
can either eat with your hand. Okay, everybody in the community, what are the different ways you can eat food in the chat? Okay. So one way is you can eat with hand. Anybody else? What else? Thanks, Siddharth. I'll move on to the next person. Feel free to contribute
Okay.
in
Thank
chat.
you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Good to see you,
Ma'am,
everybody.
hello, ma'am.
Yes, Abdul, are you speaking?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Okay.
I have one doubt, ma'am. So
Mm-hmm.
you're speaking about the English language, the troubles which we are facing in interview and in our day-to-day life. For me, I don't have a trouble in speaking or reading, ma'am. But
Mm-hmm.
one thing, I don't understand the wordings. Okay, if you give me a 10 books of books to read in front of anyone, I can read simultaneously. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
if you ask me to speak, yeah, I can speak, but I'm not getting understanded with the words whichever I'm speaking or using. So if I go for an dictionary to refer it, I mean, for example, if you are referring the meaning for any word in a dictionary, okay. So when I see that, it's showing very elaborately like it's a pronoun or noun or something. So I'm not getting understand that. So I have difficulty in this portion. Please suggest me how to come out of this.
Abdul, so you brought up a very, very critical point about communication, which is being able to understand comprehension. Okay.
Yes,
So if you're not able to attribute, see, language is basically very abstract. Okay. It's just like a bunch of sounds that you're putting together and making them into words. Okay.
yes.
So if you're familiar with those random sounds, we call them a language, and then we are able to attribute meaning. Now, how do
Hmm.
we learn meaning of a
Hmm.
particular word? So can you, Abdul, tell me about a word that you learned about in the past? Somebody has a lot of
Word,
background noise. Abdul, if it's you, that's okay. For someone else, please mute your.
no, no. I think it's not from my end now. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can. Dipanjan, can you help on this, please?
Yeah, I don't see anything. I think it's coming from Abdul's side, but it's fine, I think.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
Abdul, let's go ahead. No worries.
Ma'am, to be honest, I don't remember any word now.
Okay, let's take the word. Let's take the word honest. How did you learn
Okay,
this word?
honest.
Honest, yeah.
So yeah, yes, ma'am. It started from my school days.
Mm-hmm.
They articulated with me this word to me with the behavior
Mm-hmm.
and the way of saying. So this is how I came to know that. So honest means being genuine or perfect to yourself.
Yeah,
Likewise.
so basically, if you didn't do your homework, you go to school, you say you didn't do your homework. You don't kind of
Yes.
make up a story about it, and that's what
Yes. Yes.
honesty is, right? So
Yes,
you
ma'am.
learn the meaning of the word through many experiences, to explanations and things like that. And
Hmm.
now, whenever somebody says honest, you're very clear about what it means. Honesty, the meaning of honesty itself is very abstract, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I
Yes,
mean, you
ma'am.
can't see honesty. You can't, like, if people are like, what is honesty? You can't show honesty like you can show table, right?
Hmm.
It's a very abstract concept. It's a behavior, or it's a stand, or it's an approach, or an
Hmm.
attitude, or a way
Yes,
of
ma'am.
life. Like, again, it can be used in so many different contexts, right? Honesty. So it's a big thing, right? So the meaning that we attribute to a particular word, okay,
Hmm.
is
Okay.
actually very critical to comprehension. Now, what becomes interesting is some meanings are very literal. So if I'm talking about a table, you see a table, that's very easy to understand. Okay.
Okay.
If you're talking about an emotion, so this is a behavior. So
Hmm.
honesty is a behavior that we undertake, which is also
Hmm.
not so bad. Repetitive behaviors, repetition. At some point, we get the idea. At some point, we start using it. Okay.
Hmm.
What about, so the moment we start speaking about our experiences which are more abstract, which are more intangible, it gets difficult to communicate that using language, if you've noticed, unless the other person has had a similar experience. Okay.
Hmm.
So for
Hmm.
example, I'm going to take a very bad example. I'm sorry if this triggers or upsets anybody. That's not my intention. It's to make, things clear. So say somebody has passed away in your
Hmm.
family. Okay.
Okay.
If you have not experienced a loss of someone in
Hmm.
your life, like say your friend, has not
Okay.
experienced a loss of anybody, you guys are teenagers, maybe 17, 18, and you lost a very dear family member, we say uncle
Okay.
or aunt or somebody who you were very, very close to. Okay.
Okay.
And then you're trying to explain to this friend, like they are not able to understand what just happened with your family and what you may be going through. So what they start doing is they're like, oh, you're sad, so let me just take you out for partying. And you're like, no, that's not something I want to do. Right? You don't get it. Like sometimes we tell people like you don't get it. Right?
Hmm.
So language learning is like that. Right? Sometimes like maybe 40 to 50%, I could say even 30 to 40%. When we
Hmm.
learn language, there is just so much of common usage and familiarity with how we use it. We are able to get by on a day-to-day basis, which is transactional. Okay. So
Okay,
what I
ma'am.
mean by transactional is you want to go to the bank and withdraw money. You want to travel from here to there. You want to order food and things like this. These are transactional communications, and these are very tangible. So you say ABCD, the other person replies DF, and you're done with the exchange or the communication. But when you're trying to do work, it becomes a little bit more complex depending on what your work type is. So if you're in a technical kind of a job or a product selling kind of a job, then it's fairly easy because everything is repetitive. Okay. So 90%
Okay.
of your communication needs are covered, right?
Okay. Okay.
But if you reach a situation where you want to build a closer relationship with somebody, now if you're from the same culture and your language has developed in the same way or a similar way, which means that the meaning that you attribute to the words that you're using will be similar, okay,
Okay.
then the understanding will be better, right? But say you're trying to communicate to somebody who's in Japan,
Hmm.
and they
Okay.
kind of respect this physical space. They want you to bow and all. I'm not familiar with how they do it now, but traditionally, you're supposed to keep your head down to somebody who has authority, and you bow a lot and things like that. Physical space is not, maintained very clearly. Whereas if you go to America, somebody will give you a pat on the shoulder and it doesn't mean much. Like they shake your hand, if you do really well, you can go into a high fives. which might not be something that Eastern countries do. Maybe Dipanjan will know. Dipanjan,
Yeah, yeah.
is it how I said?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, obviously, Western companies are much more like US, for example, is much more informal and casual in terms of how they communicate. Even in their emails, right? You can identify that they use words like "cool," "let's catch up," "looking forward."
Hey,
Yeah, hey, how you doing? So yeah, pretty casual. So let's catch up. So things like that. But yeah, when we talk about Indian companies or even Southeast Asian companies, are a bit more formal.
yeah. So
Uh,
yeah. So what happens is somebody from India, going to America and they're not used to it. They may be like, like now there's a lot of culture infusion that's happening everywhere. So people are tolerant of different types of behaviors thanks to, YouTube, I think. But, imagine you're not familiar with other cultures and, suddenly you see this person behaving very oddly. Like, an American comes into an Indian company and they're like, hey, dude, what's up? And you're like, huh? Aren't we working? Like, I'm not a dude. Like, excuse me, you know. And for him and for that coder, it's like an everyday thing. They're like, okay, hey, dude, let's get a cup of coffee and let's get cracking. And you're like, what do you think?
Yeah.
Versus imagine us going to an American company where the boundaries are very clear. They look informal in the way they communicate, but actually they have very strong, privacy boundaries. And we are like telling them, after the end of the day, because they were helpful at work, we're like, why don't you come home? We cook biryani for you. And then they're like, you don't do that in American culture. They're not comfortable with that. You're like colleagues, you're not friends, right? And we don't visit colleagues' homes and have dinner. So in India, it's okay. You invite, like now, culture is changing, of course, but it's acceptable that we chit chat with somebody. There's a comfort built, and then you invite them home. Then you start hanging out with them on weekends and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So we can very easily misunderstand the same word because the people from different cultures can attribute different meanings to it. Okay.
okay, ma'am.
So what does this
Uh,
really mean in terms of communication and language? Okay, it means that we have a long way to go. Okay, it's a never-ending process to learn and grow with an language.
Ma'am, actually, I got your point. Okay, if it relates with the other I mean other traditional people or other country people, the way of saying or the way of communicating it will get different. Okay, I understand that. So
No, that's
why
not what
I
I
asked?
said. No, that's not what I said.
Okay,
I'm saying that the meaning that we attribute to words will be
it's
different based on where you grow up and what your exposures and what your familiarity and usage of that language is.
okay,
Are
okay.
you understanding that? So, like for
Yes, ma'am.
example,
I got it. I
yeah,
got it.
yeah,
I got it.
yeah.
Hmm.
Go ahead, please. Sorry.
No, yeah, yes, ma'am. So I'm bit improving myself, but how to say? So like sir has said, by adding some words in emails or let's catch up or some keywords, I'm improving myself. But to inner part of mine, so I'm feeling I'm lagging somewhere. So that's why I asked such question. So
Yeah, so the
because
reason
I know
why,
myself.
yeah, so the reason why I shared all this, like if you have transactional English in place, which is what you learn as a beginner and maybe intermediate level one, then you
Okay.
need to start getting into more abstract side of English, which is realizing that, once you're past the transactional stuff, then you need to realize that the meaning that we attribute to words is very subjective. Are you
Yes,
understanding
ma'am.
what that means? Which means that the same word will mean different things to different people, most
Yes, ma'am.
likely. Yeah. So when you're trying to have a very personal conversation with somebody, you will realize that even a family member that you're very close to for so many years will misunderstand what you are saying because they attribute a different meaning to the same word.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So one typical example is how, the generation gap between the older generation and the younger generation. So, like my generation would use the word cool, which is like accepted now. If say I come for a meeting, I say cool, it's okay. But my, older generation, they were like, how can you say cool in a formal situation? Like, it's just not done. It wasn't
Yes, ma'am.
done. Yeah, so they
Yes,
will be
yes.
like, how can you say cool? Like, this is formal, like, not accepted, Yeah. So, that's one example of how we attribute different language thing. So, for example, if an older person comes and tells me, will you get this done for me? I'll have to say, yes, I will. If I say, yeah, then they're like, oh, you're so casual about it, you know? Which is not the case. Like now, if somebody comes and says, will you get this done for me? Yeah, I'll get it done for you, no problem. Like that doesn't mean that person is casual, right? It means that
Yes.
that person I mean, it's a matter of speaking, which is accepted, but
His way of speaking, nature is like that. Yes.
nature is not like, it's not nature is like that. It's just a way of, it's a manner of speaking that we have developed to
Oh,
communicate.
okay, okay, okay.
So 50 of us are saying, yeah, that's cool, I'll do it for you. So it becomes an accepted norm that it's okay to agree using that word and that tone.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay. But for an older generation, they would be, for them, saying it like this would, the meaning that they attribute to this tone and these words is that you're not serious, because only non-serious people would speak like this in that day and age. They meant disrespect when they spoke like this, but the next generation didn't mean disrespect. It's just the way they speak. Are you
Yes, ma'am.
understanding? So
Yes,
it's
yes,
not,
I can.
yeah, so it's not the words, it's not the tone, it's also like the 90% of the story is something underneath, which is a meaning you're attributing to that tone and that word.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
So a lot of things go into that language, like the words you use, the tone, the pitch, how you speak, things like that. So there are people who have this association where they're like, you keep your tone down when you're speaking to somebody in authority.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I face that. I
Yeah.
face that.
So is everybody understanding this, that meaning plays a big role in communication?
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
everybody getting that?
Yes, man, absolutely.
Yeah. So if meaning plays a big role in communication, then what role does language play in communication? Right? Okay. So on this note, let me play a video for you guys. Okay. Now here, there is no language problem. Everybody speaks English really well, but just see if communication is is happening properly or not. Dipanjan, I'm going to try to play the video from my side, but if the sound is not coming, I'm going to give you the video link. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Can everybody see my screen?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah.
Is the sound audible?
It's not playing yet.
No.
Yes, sir.
Is it audible?
No, I can't hear the audio.
Okay. Let
No,
me share
ma'am,
the
no
link
audio.
with you.
Yeah, yeah.
May I help you?
We'll be asking the questions, old man. Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
I have told you.
Are you deaf?
No, you is blind.
I'm not blind, you blind.
That is what I just said.
You just said what?
I did not say what. I said you.
That's what I'm asking you.
And you is answering.
Shut up! You!
Yes?
Not you, him! What's your name?
Me.
Yes, you!
I am me.
Das hier ist mein Sektor. Das hier ist das wichtigste Gerät des Küstenwächters. Das Gerät und das Gerät. Überlebensradar.
Mayday. Hello, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Can you... Over. We are sinking. We are sinking.
Hello? This is the German Coast Guard.
We are sinking. We're sinking.
What are you thinking about?
Okay. Yeah, so what happened in the video? Anyone?
Communication problem, ma'am.
Yeah, there was, but why?
Understanding.
The communication problem because somebody assumed what other person is trying to say based on, or trying to think for that matter, right? Why else there was a
Yes.
communication problem?
Understanding and sharing problem, convincing,
Hmm.
try to speak or try to explain.
Hmm.
The action shows something and they did something else. So here getting the problem of communication. So
Yeah.
understanding, sharing, the only one way is communication, ma'am. Whatever it is, sad, good, happy, laugh, whatever it is.
May I know your name, please?
Siddharth, ma'am.
Or Siddharth is speaking. Is there anybody else who would like to speak?
Hello,
Hi, who's this?
I'm Sneha
Hi, Sneha.
from Jaipur.
Hi, Sneha from Jaipur.
Yeah, ma'am.
Tell me.
एक्चुअली थोड़ा इंग्लिश कम्युनिकेशन में प्रॉब्लम्स होती है.
Did you understand? Can you speak in Hindi? Respond in Hindi.
मैम हिंदी.
Okay, but do you understand what I'm speaking?
या मैम, सॉरी.
आपको समझ आ रहा है हम जो यहाँ पे बात कर रहे हैं, आपको इंग्लिश में वो समझ आ रहा है आपको?
नो सर, प्रॉपरली नहीं आ रहा है.
ओके ओके, थोड़ा थोड़ा आ रहा है या फिर मतलब बिल्कुल भी नहीं आ रहा है?
नहीं मतलब सर एक्चुअली क्या है ना, बिल्कुल थोड़ा थोड़ा आ रहा है.
ओके
जी.
okay okay, yeah, Trishna, I think she has difficulty in understanding also, like she's getting very few bits here.
Yeah, so you can ask her why there is a communication gap. Like, so in this situation, communication gap between us is very clear because it's because of language. She
Yeah.
doesn't know English.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you ask her in Hindi, she's able to answer correctly.
Yeah.
Which means that we need a common language to communicate. Can you translate that in Hindi for her?
श्योर. सो स्नेहा जी, अभी आपको जो दिक्कत आ रही है वो इसीलिए आ रही है क्योंकि कम्युनिकेशन का जो गैप हो रहा है वो इसलिए हो रहा है कि आपको इंग्लिश में चीज़ें उतनी अच्छी सी क्लियरली समझ नहीं आ रहा है, राइट? तो मतलब लैंग्वेज स्किल्स है मेनली रीजन जिसके वजह से हमें एक कॉमन लैंग्वेज चाहिए. जैसे हिंदी है, जिसमें आपको हिंदी में समझ आ रहा है, बट
Yes, sir.
अगर इंग्लिश में हम बात करें तो वो लैंग्वेज का इशू है क्योंकि आपको सारी चीज़ें उसकी डिटेल में पता नहीं है, राइट? तो
बिल्कुल
इसीलिए
सर.
बेसिक कम्युनिकेशन भी आपके लिए थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट हो रहा है. तो आपका मेन कंसर्न यहाँ पे वही रहेगा कम्युनिकेशन गैप के पीछे.
Yeah, so what did you want to talk about?
या आपको कुछ स्पेसिफिक चीज पूछना था या फिर कुछ बताना था?
स्पेसिफिक तो क्या सर, मुझे तो सिर्फ अपनी जो इंग्लिश कम्युनिकेशन से उसको स्ट्रॉन्ग करना है.
Okay, okay. I think she's asking for general tips on how to improve the English communication.
We can maybe take it up in Q&A.
Sure, sure. Yeah. स्नेहा जी हम थोड़ी देर बाद ये सवाल आंसर करेंगे क्योंकि इसमें थोड़ा डिटेल में आपको एक्सप्लेन करना पड़ेगा. हम Q&A सेशन स्टार्ट करेंगे मे बी अनदर 15-20 या 30 मिनट्स के बाद. तो उस टाइम पे हम ये डिटेल में आपको एक बार एक्सप्लेन करेंगे.
जी मुझे आप एक बार एग्जैक्ट टाइम बता दीजिए ताकि मैं भी ज्वाइन हो पाऊँ.
आप 8:15 अराउंड ज्वाइन कीजिए या 8 PM अराउंड ज्वाइन कीजिए.
And ask her to stick around and
या आप
see what
स्टे भी कर सकते हैं कॉल पे, ऐसे कोई इशू नहीं है, मतलब आपके लिए बेनिफिशियल तब भी रहेगा. या
try to Dipanjan, if it tells Neha, try to understand what's happening. Like just let it go in, even if she doesn't understand, it's okay. But because there's a video and then she's seeing stuff, something will go in.
श्योर श्योर. आपको अभी जितना भी समझ आ रहा है आप फॉलो कीजिए, ठीक है. एंड जो भी आपके डाउट्स है वो हम एंड में आपको क्लैरिफाई करेंगे.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Please tell her that, you know, this effort doesn't go in vain. Like it's useful if she, you know, even if she doesn't understand, like just being around will build familiarity, and therefore the familiarity will actually convert into an understanding at some point.
श्योर. अगर आप कॉल पे रहेंगे, जो भी चीज़ आपको जितना भी समझ आ रहा है आप रहिए, ताकि जो भी आप एफर्ट आपने आज किया वो एफर्ट वेस्ट ना हो. एंड जितना भी आपको यहाँ पे जो भी इन्फॉर्मेशन मिल रहा है वो आपके काम आएगा. एंड धीरे धीरे आप इसमें कंफर्टेबल होंगी, थोड़ा फेमिलियरिटी आपका बढ़ेगा एंड फ्यूचर में जाके यही चीज़ें आपको इंग्लिश कम्युनिकेशन में थोड़ा और हेल्प करेगा.
ओके सर. यस जी. फिर 8 o'clock में ज्वाइन होती हूँ.
आप रहिए कॉल पे, दैट वुड बी मच बेटर. आप जो भी चीज़ें डिस्कस हो रही है वो भी आप सीख सकते हैं थोड़ा बहुत भी.
अच्छा तो आप लोग कंटिन्यू कर रहे हैं?
हाँ हम कंटिन्यू कर रहे हैं. या
ठीक है तो फिर मैं रहती हूँ.
श्योर श्योर. ओके.
Yeah, so anyone else wants to talk about what happened in that video?
Miscommunication, ma'am, one thing, and the another thing is the same word giving different pronunciation. For example, in the last part of that video, the police officer is calling to the administrative person and saying we are singing, and he thought we are singing. So same word similarity. So I noticed that one.
Yeah, so the syncing part is a language problem. Communication actually fell apart because of language gaps, right?
Okay.
But the other one where this seafood, he was teaching everybody karate, he came in and things like that, and
Yes.
this FBI, did the communication fall apart because of language or something else?
Not because of the language, ma'am.
Then
The
what was the
way,
issue?
so I mean, the same word. Same word having different meaning. For example, he was saying, "What's your name?" He said, "You." You is his name, but in English, "you" means you by yourself. So
Yes, this guy's misunderstanding that
Yes.
you is that you, the pronoun, and not you, the name.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Right. So the issue is what meaning you're attributing to that particular word. Correct?
yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, so this is these are actually, if you really look at it, 80% of communication falls apart because we assume that what the other person means. So if we use the word like, say, disappointed, okay? So when we hear the word disappointed, I will attribute meaning to that word based on my experience of that disappointed and what experience I have learned that that word actually represents, right? So if I've had that experience of disappointment like 50 times in my life before, and now again you're speaking that word disappointment, I'll be like, oh, disappointment means that. Oh, okay, I get it now. Okay. Now, say disappointment for you means something else. Okay. And say I see disappointment in a very negative way. I'm like, oh my God, it let down and things like that. But for you, disappointed means you accept the situation and you move on and you do the best that you can. And you try to see the silver lining of the situation and try and figure out. So you attribute a slightly different meaning to disappointment. Okay. Now, what happens is when we're trying to use that word and we use the word disappointment, for very simple things, it might not be a problem. But when we are trying to discuss very complex things, then what happens is there's a communication gap that happens because my meaning of disappointment and your meaning of disappointment are different. Is it making sense?
I'm getting 80% clear, but still 20% is lagging because your meaning of disappointment is like the experience which you have come across, like
Even yours.
negative things. For me, some positive, I mean, positive actions may occur. For example, I'm disappointed that I got offer letter or something which is related to the positive way. So you're coming to say like it differs based on the experience of each person's life. Am I correct, ma'am?
Correct.
Okay.
So when you talk about transactional language, like if you're talking about like going to market, taking an auto, going to the bank and everything, there one can actually manage, okay, because it's more or less. But like for example, in India, we go to a restaurant and we say, "Can you get me the bill after we finish?" But if you go to the US, you'll say, "Give me the check." Right? And if you're not familiar with that, then it'll be like, okay, what do you mean give me a check in a restaurant? Like that doesn't make sense, right? Or they come here and they'll be like, what do you want to ask? They might comprehend it better because bill is obvious. So again, you can find a lot of YouTube videos that talk about, use of words a little differently in a different context, and people from that culture understand what it means. But somebody from a different culture might actually get lost because that's not the word they use. But if their language usage is more advanced, they may, be able to connect the context with the word and they're like, why is it not working out and try to navigate that. Somebody with an intermediate level of mastery in English would be like maybe a little lost, right? So then what is English over here? If communication is being able to exchange meaning, right? Can I say English is, communication is about being able to exchange meaning, about sharing experiences? Can I put that way?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Can everybody respond in chat? I'd like to see the response from the community. Yeah. Okay, so if you're sharing experiences and exchanging meaning, then what is the language? Yeah, Amit says not getting. Can you understand English, Amit? Dipanjan, actually, can you explain it to the community in Hindi?
Yeah, sure, I'll do that. Like I'll translate from here on. Yeah.
No, can you translate what I just said? So basically, what we're saying is communication is about sharing experiences and exchanging meaning.
Okay.
Yeah, can you just say that in Hindi?
या सो जब हम कम्युनिकेशन की बात करते हैं, हम बेसिकली हमारे जो एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं, हमारी जो डे टू डे की चीज़ें हैं, वो हम एक दूसरे के साथ शेयर कर सकें, ये प्राइमरी गोल रहता है हमारा. एंड या दैट्स
So does a community agree that that's what communication is?
या
What does
क्या आप लोगों को भी यही चीज़ लगता है? अगर आप अग्री करते हैं तो आप चैट में बताइए. बेसिकली हम यही बोल रहे हैं कि कम्युनिकेशन दो लोगों के बीच में अपनी एक्सपीरियंसेस शेयर करने का या बातें करने का तरीका होता है. एंड अगर आप इस चीज़ से अग्री करते हैं तो आप यस चैट में मेंशन कीजिए. या ओके.
Ashwin has been to our sessions before.
या
Okay. Right. So if exchange of meaning and experiences is communication, then what is language? Dipanjan Hindi.
या अगर कम्युनिकेशन बात करने का तरीका है, एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करने का तरीका है, तो लैंग्वेज आपके हिसाब से क्या है? अगर कोई बोलना चाहे, कोई बताना चाहे तो या शांतन प्लीज गो अहेड.
Yeah, language is the medium, ma'am.
Correct.
Language
It's
is
a
the
tool.
medium, like which, yeah, it's just a tool. Yeah.
It's not a medium, it's a tool. Medium is Zoom, for example.
Yeah.
So we use sound to, in a medium of technology or in air to, that sound actually goes from my mouth. Like right now, the sounds from my mouth are going through this, like, what is this, mic? And then it's getting inside, it's traveling through all these wires, and then you guys are able to hear it. So that's the medium. Okay? Yeah, so how does then mastery of English help you improve your communication? And does it mean that if your English is not good, your communication is bad? Dipanjan, can you ask us in Hindi? The second question, if your language is not good, does that mean your communication is bad?
अगर आपका भाषा पे कंट्रोल नहीं है, लाइक इंग्लिश अगर आपको अच्छे से नहीं आता, तो क्या इसका मतलब ये है कि आप कम्युनिकेट नहीं कर पाते, आप लोगों के साथ बात नहीं कर पाते? क्या ये तो ये क्या आपको यही लगता है?
शेयर नहीं कर पाते.
या
No, ma'am, sir. मुझे लगता है सर कि if we can articulate, if we can express what we are feeling in any language, be it in our mother tongue or in any language, so I think then we are a good communicator. English is just a language. So I think first of all,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
Sorry.
So no, ma'am, that's what I was trying to say, that we must first learn to express ourselves in whatever language we are comfortable with. So I think that's the thing, ma'am.
Okay. So one is that you express yourself, which is the other part of communication. So you expressed yourself and you expressed yourself very well in, say, Hindi, because your Hindi is something that you're comfortable with. Okay. What is the other part of the communication?
आपने अपने आप को तो एक्सप्रेस कर लिया अपनी भाषा में, बट कम्युनिकेशन टू वे होता है, तो दूसरा पार्ट क्या है कम्युनिकेशन का जो इम्पोर्टेंट है? अगर कोई
Listening and understanding the other person, what the other person is saying, proper listening.
Correct. So you need to be able to, so the other person needs to know Hindi. They need to be able to attribute meaning to the words that you're speaking. So if you say the word bhasha, the other person also needs to understand that the bhasha means language, right? So they will hear your words, then they will understand what those words actually mean. So comprehension, okay? And then what happens? Dipanjan?
आपकी भाषा लोगों को समझ में आ रहा है, आप क्या बोलने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं वो लोगों को समझ में आ रहा है, बट और अगर ये हो गया तो इसके बाद वाला स्टेप क्या रहता है कम्युनिकेशन में?
Pronunciation, way of pronunciation.
Who's this?
Abdul. Yeah.
Sorry?
This is Abdul. Yeah.
Abdul. So somebody, your best friend spoke to you. Okay. So they wanted to say something and they said it. They said, okay, I haven't seen you for 5 years and I've really missed you. Okay. They said that to you. Okay. You heard the words. So your ears actually heard the words. Okay. Then you understood the words. So your brain is like, oh, my best friend, so many years I've not seen him. He's missed me.
Yes.
Okay. So you understand what he's experiencing. Okay. What is your response? Are you going to keep quiet and say, huh, okay? Is that your reaction? You have a response?
No.
Are you going to have a response or no?
Yeah, I will give a response because
you will have a response. Okay?
Yes.
What response will you have?
For example, I also missed you, man. Likewise, like expressing like even I too missed you for the past 5 years. So
Fine, got it. Yeah, so you will say to your friend that you missed him also for the last 5 years. But before you say it, what happens inside of you?
What, ma'am? Before
you use the words, like before you actually say I miss you too, what happens inside of you?
So at first, when he,
The moment you hear the words "I missed you" and you
yeah,
understand he's missed you, what do you
some
feel?
yes, ma'am. My brain will feel a experience like, yeah, he's really missing me. So
That you understood
that
what he said. What is your response?
so my response would be like, so
Then you will think
that's
back, right? Oh my God, 5 years, we've been best friends, and then we used to spend day and night together. Then I have not been with him for the last 5 years. Oh my God, I tried to write to him, but I couldn't, and then he wouldn't respond because he was so busy, and then you feel that emptiness again in your life for the last 5 years, right? All this
yes,
happens in
ma'am.
a
Yes,
second. All this in a
yes,
second, okay, flash, right?
yes,
And then you're
yes,
like,
ma'am.
oh my God, I'm so sad that you weren't around for the last 5 years. But now I'm really happy that you are, all this like going through your mind and your heart and your body and everything. Like all these experiences come gushing through, right?
Yes, yes,
So
ma'am.
that's your response to what he said. Okay. Now you're going to see, you're going to actually then in your brain, you're going to be like, okay, how do I say this to him? Right?
Hmm.
Then you say, oh man, I missed you too.
Hmm.
Clear? So what did you do? You articulated your experience
Yes,
and
yes,
as a response. Okay.
yes.
So the language did not come first, the experience came first, and then you identify the words, your brain identify the words that you're going to use to speak that experience. Is it clear?
Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. So
So
you're saying like my experience will frame a word. I mean, frame a sentence by collecting some words, and then it will come as a reply to, right?
no, can you repeat? Sorry, what did you say?
No, I mean the experience which I got from his wordings, my brain will frame a sentence as a response, right? That's what you are coming to say, and my brain will find the words which I'm familiar with, and by adding, I mean by framing as a sentence, it will come out as a response to it, right, ma'am?
No, then you will speak them. You will say
Yeah,
those
yeah,
words.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So that's the whole story. And you say them in a language that's comfortable for you. So maybe English, he may say, I missed you, and then you'll be like, hi, yaar, maine bhi, something like that. Right? In
yes,
Hindi. Yeah?
yeah,
Something like different people have a different way of using language. So maybe you'll do it in your own unique way. Right? But the meaning is the same. Like you communicating. What the communication that happened is he missed you and you missed him. Right? But you guys may say it
yes, ma'am.
differently. Right? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, right. So is everybody clear? So when somebody okay, so circling back to what we had started this entire discussion today, is we were saying that when in interviews, we go to interviews. Yeah. So what we should, right. So when you go to interviews, what really happens is, when somebody says your communication skills are not good, okay, it's very important for you to analyze whether your communication skills are not good because you're not able to talk to people, okay, or is it because you lack in your language skills? Is it clear? Making sense? And then you know where you need to improve. So maybe your English is very good, but you couldn't say what you wanted to say in that moment. Then you need to look at, oh, I was hesitating, I was nervous, no, I had a fear, I hadn't prepared really well, and things like that. So that's why, right? But if you feel like, okay, my English is not good enough, like somebody said, when somebody asked me to introduce myself, I spoke 4 words. I think Sayan said that. I spoke 2 sentences, then I got stuck because I didn't know what to say. I couldn't frame the words. So that's a language problem. So when you get a feedback from an organization saying that your communication skills are not good, it's very important to identify why they're saying that, number one. Number two, is English speaking a requirement from that job? And if it is a requirement from that job, then yes, you need to be good at communicating using English. Okay. But if it's not a requirement from the job, then you could do it in Hindi or any other language, as long as you can get the work done. Is it making sense?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dipanjan, can you repeat that in Hindi?
या जब कोई किसी को अगर कोई आपको बोलता है कि आपकी कम्युनिकेशन की वजह से आपको इंटरव्यू क्लियर नहीं हो रहा है, तो ये समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है कि कम्युनिकेशन में कौन सा पार्ट है जस्ट जो आपका मेन प्रॉब्लम है, कि आप चीज़ें जो आप बताना चाहते हैं वो आप क्लियरली कन्वे नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, या फिर लैंग्वेज का इशू है जिसकी वजह से आपकी बातें आगे वाले इंसान को समझ में नहीं आ रहा है। तो ये आइडेंटिफाई करना इंपॉर्टेंट है, उसके बाद वो स्पेसिफिक प्रॉब्लम्स को आप सॉल्व कर पाएंगे।
Yeah, so one of the easiest things to do, or one of the smartest things to do in interviews is, first of all, find out whether the interviews need to be English or not. Okay, if not, you can always tell the interviewer, look, my English is not really good, but I can introduce myself in Hindi.
Yeah.
Or whichever language that, like Kannada, Bengali, Tamil, whichever language that is required for you, for that role, for you to manage. And just take it from there, right? Instead of getting stuck with a language, like your tools are not sharp enough and you're trying to, it's like, trying to do a hammer's job with a toothpick. It's not gonna work, right? So it's rather than feel bogged down and feel nervous and anxious, just realize that you don't have a hammer, you have a toothpick, and it's not gonna work. So use something else that works for you. All right, so I think that was my takeaway. This is very simple thing to say in today's class. What we try to communicate is very simple to say. Can we say in one sentence? But I wanted you guys to think as an experience from your side, and rather than giving you gyan and putting up pictures and saying this is how it works. And I hope that you will take away this as a deep understanding that you can actually apply in your, situations, especially with interviews, because personally, I've always been like, I found it very funny, hilarious even, as to why somebody would tell somebody that their communication skills is bad when their language skills are not good enough. It can really be confusing for somebody. So that's one thing that I wanted to, and they do miss out on really, really good candidates. Like somebody can be really good at their job, they're very enterprising, they can get things done, but unfortunately they don't speak English well because they're not been educated in it or something yet. And I don't think that should be a showstopper for people to get jobs, because many times it's not even a requirement to get a job for you to be able to speak a language. Happens, so Dipanjan, I'm sure Apna has this experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's a common thing. I mean, it's a mindset that will take time to change. But until then, we'll have to work on ourselves to improve in whichever ways we can.
So I hope the 14 people who are here today understand that, and that could be of help to them.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So that's it from my side for today. I hope this session was helpful. Please share your feedbacks. I know it's a bit much than what we usually used to in the different sessions, but I hope it was of value. And we will go to the Q&A section if anybody wants to ask questions.
Yeah.
Up to you, Dipanjan.
Yeah, sure. Is there any questions that someone wants to?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, sure. Sneha, are you still on the call? I don't think so. Okay. Anyone who wants to ask any particular questions, yeah, please go ahead. Shantan, if you want to ask something.
Yes, sir. Ma'am, can you give me some tips on how I can, like you heard me speak now. So if you have anything personal, any tip or anything, how I can improve my communication, my English communication, any specific tip if you can give me.
No, sorry. Sorry, your voice broke. What do you want to improve, please?
Yeah, am I audible properly?
Yes, now you
Right
are.
now? Yeah. So I was just saying that, like I have been talking with you and both of you, like you heard me speak. So do you have any specific tips or any suggestions on how I can improve more, my fluency more? Any specific tips or anything?
So where are you
suggestions?
Yeah, understood. So where are you feeling challenged right now?
Uh, I feel telling sometimes in articulating my thoughts, and sometimes I feel I stammer a bit. So maybe both of you have heard me how I speak. Maybe you can give me some suggestions on how to improve this thing, how to be a more, how to articulate in a better way, and how to be more fluent. Maybe you can give me some suggestions on how I can do that.
Okay, and what are you doing, Sayam, right now?
Ma'am, I'm working at a company. I'm working as a marketing executive at an organization. So yeah,
And how long have you been working? Do you use English at work? And how long have you been working?
ma'am, I've been working for 4 months now, and yeah, we use English, mostly English we use at work.
Okay.
So I
And,
feel that I can do better. Yeah.
and what did you study, Sayam?
Ma'am, I did my graduation in BBA.
CPS. Okay. And
Yeah.
and was your schooling in English or in Hindi or?
Yeah, it was in English, ma'am. But but it was an English medium, but still all the teachers, only the subjects were used to be in English, but we used to only communicate in our mother languages. And whatever English that, yeah. So whatever language that I have, like whatever the language that I'm able to speak, I have developed it by myself. Like I watched YouTube videos and practiced and watched movies and all. I try to improve myself. And but I feel I can improve more. So that's why I'm asking for more suggestions. Yeah.
I think so. One of the things that you could touch base on, so I would think that you're going more towards advanced learning as far as the language skills are concerned. So your comprehension is probably very high, which means you can understand pretty much everything that happens. Okay. Are you comfortable with understanding different accents, or do you and fast English, or do you have a problem with that?
Did you ask me about accents, about understanding different accents?
Yes, is that?
Yeah. I can understand. Yeah, I do understand.
You can understand. Okay, so the idea is that, so at your stage, what needs to happen, Sayan, is it's good that you're exposing yourself as much to English and you're consuming it as well. Do you do it from an educative standpoint or do you do it from an entertainment standpoint as well?
Ma'am, both, ma'am. Like sometimes I watch, watch movies with the subtitles on, so that I can actually understand how they're speaking and what they're speaking next. So yeah, sometimes even in entertainment we can learn something also, right, ma'am?
No, absolutely. So my suggestion
Yeah.
actually here is to actually go the entertainment route. Basically, you should enjoy the language. You should enjoy an activity, and that needs to be in English. Okay. So, for example, if you like sports, if you like, for example, if you're a cricket fan, then listen to commentary in English, not in Hindi, right? If you like, if you like catching movies, don't watch movies to learn English, but watch genres that you enjoy. So if you're a person who likes action movies, for example, or you like drama, then watch more of those movies in English, right? So basically, the idea is to lace English with enjoyment and entertainment, basically, right? And what's the kind of serial that you would love to watch? So, for example, if you like watching detective, serials, and you like something like Sherlock Holmes and things like that, like mystery solving, then that's in English, right? Don't watch the dubbed version, but watch English versions, right? So it's very important that you enjoy the content itself for its sake, not because it's in English or Hindi or Kannada or anything like that, but because you would like that kind of genre, you like that topic, it's interesting for you, and you'd like to learn about it and things like that. So that's one thing. Second thing is, if you can find opportunities to interact with people who are from different cultures. Okay. So there's a website called meetup.com. You can go there. A lot of people get together for language exchange. I personally wouldn't recommend you to go to language exchange sites, but you could just join some hobby meetups or anything like that, and find people who communicate in English, right? And try to get to know them and talk to them and things like that, right? Third thing that you might want to do is just touch up your pronunciation a little bit more. So your English will sound a lot more polished, and that itself will build confidence. So the idea is to expose yourself to as much of variety of experiences as possible by participating in it if you can. Like rather than just consuming it passively, which is great, which you should continue to do, it's entertaining. Also actively involve yourself in exchanges, you know. Like one of the fun ways to do it is if you go to gaming, if you like gaming, go to these, um, multiplayer games where there are people from all over the world and then have a chat with them in English. Talk to them about the game, what happens and things like that.
Okay,
I hope that
ma'am.
answers
Okay.
your question.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay. Is there anyone else who wants to ask any question? I think we can take one more question for now. Any other doubt? Anything they want to get clarified? कुछ भी अगर आपको पूछना हो, कोई सवाल, कुछ चीज जो आपको क्लैरिफाई करनी है?
Is Amit around?
Sorry, who?
Amit. Sneha left, right?
Yeah, no, Amit is also not here. Okay.
Okay, let me respond to Sneha's question anyway,
Yeah.
and it'll be on the video, hoping that she catches the link when we post it.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, for Sneha, and you could translate that for me, Dipanjan, after that.
Sure.
So for Sneha, the thing is, because she's at a beginner stage, it's very important that you start building some basic vocabulary, right? So I think there's something that I've said in my previous classes also. So go through objects around you literally, go through actions that you do on a daily basis and develop vocabulary for that. So, like you wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you freshen up, and you have your breakfast, and you go to work or go to study, then what do you study, then how do you spend your day? Like you listen to a lecture for 3 hours and then take a break and have lunch and then more lectures and then break and then you come home and you're like really tired. So, you freshen up and watch TV for a while to relax and then you start getting into your homework. And then you spend some time with your family from 7 to 8 or 7 to 9, and you guys have dinner together, and then off to bed. And the day finishes and repeats. So
Yeah.
this is like a narrative of your day. Also, like really just naming all the objects around in English and building the vocabulary. So very important is not to go to translation method, which is go like this is what do you say for this in Hindi?
I think cup only. Yeah, this is. I don't think so. There's a Hindi word for it.
Yeah, I mean we've just started.
Well, there would be words. I mean,
We don't
pyala,
use them.
pyala.
Pyala. Yeah.
Yeah,
So this is
yeah.
pyala in Hindi and it's cup in English. So don't code your memory like, so basically when we try to recall stuff, we recall images in our heads, recall sounds in our heads, right? So when you recall this image in your head, code your memory as this is cup in English, this is pyala in Hindi. So what happens is when you want to speak in English, the way to think in English will actually come rushing to you. When you say, hey, I want to speak English, then your English will be available to you with your memory. And when you
Yeah.
say Hindi, then your Hindi will be available to you in memory. So that's a way to codify your language as a beginner.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
a little taxing, but it pays off in the long run.
So जो लोग भी अभी बेसिक लेवल ऑफ इंग्लिश में है, लाइक उनको चीज़ें वोकैबलरी नहीं समझ आती या फिर समझने में डिफिकल्ट होता है, तो सबसे पहली चीज़ जो आप कीजिए वो है अपनी इंग्लिश की वोकैबलरी इंप्रूव कीजिए. एंड उस चीज़ के लिए सिंपल चीज़ ये होगा कि आपके आसपास जो भी चीज़ें आपको दिख रहे हैं उसका इंग्लिश वर्ड क्या है वो आप ध्यान में रखिए. जैसे कि आपका टेबल, चेयर, टीवी, ऐसी चीजें. एंड इसमें आप ट्रांसलेशन का मदद मत कीजिए. जैसे कि ट्रांसलेशन टेक्निक के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट मत रहिए. जैसे कि आप ये मत सोचिए कि इसको हम कुर्सी बोलते हैं और इसको हम हिंदी इंग्लिश में चेयर बोलते हैं. आप सिर्फ ये याद रखिए कि इसको हम चेयर बोलते हैं. इससे क्या होगा कि जब आप किसी चीज़ को कॉन्वर्सेशन में बात करेंगे तो आपका जब आप इंग्लिश में बात करें आपको सिर्फ इंग्लिश के वर्ड्स ही दिमाग में आए. एंड वोकैबुलरी के साथ साथ आप ये भी देखिए कि आप रोज़मर्रा की जो काम कर रहे हैं कि आप कॉलेज जा रहे हैं या फिर काम पे जा रहे हैं या फिर सुबह उठ के आप कुछ पर्टिकुलर काम कर रहे हैं, तो वो सारी चीज़ें आप ट्राई कीजिए कि छोटे छोटे सेंटेंस इंग्लिश में बोलने की, कि आई वोक अप, आई एम गोइंग फॉर वर्क. तो ऐसे छोटे छोटे सेंटेंसेस भी अगर आप प्रैक्टिस करेंगे तो इससे आपको बेनिफिट मिलेगा. Yeah, okay. I think with that we have covered all the questions. So let's move to the conclusion bit. Yeah. Okay.
Sure, Dipanjan.
Yeah. So for anyone and everyone who, yeah, Shantan, anything you want to say?
Yes, it's just one last thing. It's a bit off topic. So
Okay.
first of all, I want to thank both of you, you and ma'am, for this session. And this is the first time I'm attending this session. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
So I was just asking that. Can we stay in touch and can we connect in WhatsApp if that's okay? Maybe for future, if we can stay in touch,
Yeah, you
Yes.
can. Yeah, please go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Dipanjan.
No, I was just saying that, there is a dedicated community space on Apna. So
Okay.
you can join Trishna's community. I'll just attach the link here quickly. And there you can interact through chats and, responses. And you can also fill out the feedback form through which you will be able to connect with you.
Okay. Please share the links. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm available on DMs also on Apna. You can ping me there if you have anything specific you'd like to let me to respond to.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Ma'am, thank you for the session, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Abdul, for attending my session and
Yeah,
you
this
know,
was the first time
participating.
I'm attending your session,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know who you are really, but it was very good.
Thank you.
And this is my second session with Apna. Yesterday I
Oh,
have attended one session for
Resumes. Yeah.
related to interview. Okay.
Yeah.
So and today I attended related to the communication and other those things
Yeah.
which we use for interview purpose. So
Yeah.
both were very good, ma'am, and I will be continuing with you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so quickly coming towards the conclusion and answering a few questions that people might have, especially people who came for the first time. We do these sessions quite frequently, like particularly spoken English is something that we do every Friday. So you can join us and the very simple thing to do is there are multiple ways in which you can register, right? So for one thing is you can join the community that I've just shared link here. Here we will be uploading whenever we are making the next event. So you can just register by commenting interested here. I've also shared in chat the link to our website. I'll quickly add it once again. We also make announcement of upcoming events here. So if you want to attend any event, be it this one, be it for any other topic, you can just simply register by filling out the form there. And yeah, we will also be uploading the recordings of this session in addition to all other sessions that we are doing. So in case you missed out or joined late, you can definitely check those out. Spoken English is something that we've been doing for the last 8 to 10 weeks. So if you want to catch up on what has happened in the previous sessions, do check the website out. You'll find all the episodes there. So it'll be like a revision for you to catch up on what all we have discussed so far, what all we have covered, so that when you come for the next session, you have the context ready. And yeah, do share your feedback through the form so that we can invite you for the next session. We can understand what other topics we can cover and how we can improve. Yeah, with that, I think we come towards the conclusion of the session. And thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Trishna, for your time. I hope people were able to find value and improve their communication skills. So hoping to see everyone in the next session. Very, very good night and a very good weekend to everyone. Have a nice day. Yeah.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye. Nice day. Bye.